What a pitching matchup tonight in Milwaukee. The best in baseball. Sean Markham for the Brewers against Tim Lincecum, the reigning Cy Young Award winner. He is on the mound for the San Francisco Giants. It is game 1 of 3. The Brewers and the Giants. A big Memorial Day weekend series here at Miller Park. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from beautiful Miller Park. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us. Hope you're going to have a great weekend, and hopefully the weather will turn in our favor as well. But what a matchup we have to get this series started. It's the first of 3 against the Giants. It's Markham against Lincecum, and let's start with the 2-time reigning Cy Young Award winner, Lincecum. He's coming off his best start of his season.
Yeah, this guy is a guy you buy a ticket and come and watch. He's not a big guy, but he's a power pitcher. One of the best in the business. I mean, he's on a roll right now, coming off his best start of the year against the Oakland A's in interleague play. Big-time strikeout guy. You look at the top 10 in a lot of the pitching categories in the National League, you will see Tim Lincecum. Lincecum has struggled against the Brewers. He's only 2-3. He's got an ERA over 4, but Sean Markham is just the opposite. He's not a power pitcher. He's more of a finesse guy. He is on a roll as well. He's 3-0 in the month of May and 4-0 in his last few starts. 2.06 earned run average. Really dialed in right now in the strike zone. Changeup's been very good. Fastball's been very good. He has been the best the Brewers have had. Now
Markham, the reigning National League Player of the Week as well. When we come back, we'll talk about Buster Posey and his possibly season-ending injury. Stay with us. Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. By AT&T. And brought to you by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toyota territory at Miller Park. Back at Miller Park, Milwaukee, and we're set for the Giants and the Brewers. And if you go back to May 9th, the Brewers, the best record in the National League. They've won 13 of their last 16 games. You take that window, you move it back a little bit further. The San Francisco Giants, since May 3rd, the best record. And you see they are atop the National League West. And we welcome you back from Miller Park. And, Bill, it's a big injury. Buster Posey, I'm sure you've heard about it at this point, but Posey, the big bat in this Giants lineup, a gruesome injury on Wednesday. He fractured the fibula, and he tore 3 ligaments in his left ankle, and he might be out the rest of the season. And that is a lot of production missing from this Giants batting order.
And the Giants really can't afford that. I mean, they're dead last in the National League in runs scored, 170 of them. They already have guys on the disabled list: DeRosa, Sandoval, Mike Fontenot, those 3 guys on the disabled list. So Buster Posey is going to be missing that lineup for sure. And you hate to have the Giants come in here and not have their best guys out there. Buster Posey is setting up to be a superstar in this league, and it's kind of a disappointment that he's not going to be playing in this series.
Well, the reigning world champs will have their reigning Cy Young Award winners. As a matter of fact, he's won the last 2. It's Lincecum against Markham, a magical mound matchup for sure. First pitch coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Located 60 feet 6 inches from some of the best athletes in the world, it is center stage for the beginning of every play in baseball. For the past 10 games, those who take to it for the Brewers have stood taller than ever. Tonight, in a matchup of contrasting styles, the Brewers' best takes on one of baseball's best in what could be the best duel in baseball tonight. And the much-anticipated matchup between Sean Markham and Tim Lincecum as Markham leads the Brewers onto the field here at Miller Park. Lincecum, his final preparations coming out of that bullpen. What a great matchup tonight. And as it'll probably happen in this great game, you'll probably see a high-scoring effort. Neither pitcher will be around after the 5th inning. But we're not expecting that. As the Giants are in, Bruce Bochy winning the World Series last year. They defeated the Texas Rangers, and they are back in first in the National League West despite losing their prime catcher and their Rookie of the Year last year, Buster Posey. Here is Bochy's batting order, brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Andres Torres, Freddie Sanchez, and Pat Burrell at the top. The middle is Aubrey Huff, Nate Shearholtz, and Miguel Tejada. Bottom three, Brandon Crawford making his Major League debut with Eli Whiteside and Tim Lincecum. And there is Sean Markham, and he's trying to improve on a record of 6-1 at an ERA of 2.37. Rocky is the reigning National League Player of the Week this week.
Yeah, he has been outstanding for the Brewers, far exceeding any expectations. He's 3-0 in May with a 257 earned run average. Second time that he's faced the Giants in his career. Last time it happened was last year in Toronto. 5 innings, 1 earned run.
And Torres, a bunt attempt and an easy pop-up. That was in fair territory. Torres is out, 1 away. And let's give you the rest of the Brewers defensively. You've got an outfield of Brian Braun, Niger Morgan, and Corey Hart. Morgan returning from the disabled list tonight. Casey McGee, Yuniesky Betancourt, Ricky Weeks, and Prince Fielder. And a battery of Jonathan Lucroy and Sean Markham. So Markham coming into play tonight. He joins Lincecum in the top 10 in the league in earned run average. Lincecum is 4th. Markham is 7th in the league in ERA. And no National Leaguer to 7 wins before the day began. Earlier today, Kevin Correa of the Pirates beat the Cubs 4-2. And Correa now 7-4. So Markham trying to join Kevin Correa for the most wins in the National League. As Rock mentioned, Markham pitched against the Giants last year in Toronto. He was going along just fine until he was taken out after 5 innings of play. There's a blister situation involved in that game. So a number of these Giants have seen him. But even when you know what Markham has, and you certainly know what he has if you watch enough video and film, it's a bit different when you face him in reality and you see that great changeup of his.
It's something you have to stand in that box to really get an understanding of what it's been doing up there. And he's had very good command of all 3 of his pitches so far this year. Actually all 4. He's got the 2-seamer and the 4-seamer.
Now the Brewers have won 6 straight games. They have won 9 straight at home and 11 of their last 12 here at Miller Park. They have had 3 consecutive sweeps here in their home ballpark. Got the Pirates, the Rockies, and the Nationals. And the Rockies and the Nationals coming on this homestand. This is the final leg of this 3-team homestand. As Corey Hart settles under it for out number 2. Our Farmers Insurance report card tonight on Sean Markham comes from the Giants hitting coach Hensley Mullins.
He's got a variety of pitches that he uses, and he throws them all for strikes. He's hard to. He don't have a pattern, so to speak. He can throw his changeup anytime. He can throw his 2-seam fastball anytime. He can throw his cut fastball anytime. He can throw them in and out. And then he can mix in a fastball, a curveball and a slider. So, and then at times, when he's ahead, he'll throw a 4-seam fastball that's up in the zone. So that's a lot of things you have to, worry about as a hitter when you're in the box.
So no surprises for the Giants. That's a pretty good scouting report by the Giants hitting coach. Of course, saw the video that they had to watch and the scouting reports that they get. And Sean Markham did a nice job on Freddie Sanchez after a steady diet of those all-speed pitches, pounded him inside and got in on his hands. That's the other thing that Markham will do to you.
And our thanks to Hensley Mullins, 43-year-old hitting coach out of Curacao. He's in his first year with the Giants. And a very busy, multi-layered scouting report on Sean Markham. And you get the idea of what a hitting coach, some of the challenges he has to deal with when you go up against a guy like Sean Markham with so many moving parts.
And the pitches that he throws will depend on who's up at the plate. So hitting coach has to be aware of that as well.
Tried a fastball on Pat Burrell. 2-2 the count. See Aubrey Huff, World Series star a year ago, playoff star for the Giants. And Burrell strikes out. So Pat Burrell down on strikes, and a 3-up 3-down inning for Markham, and now it's Lincecum's turn. The Brewers are hot at home. Can they stay that way against the reigning Cy Young Award winner? As the Brewers and the Giants get a 3-game series underway. Giants go in order of the first inning against Markham, and now the Brewers will send up their 9 against Tim Lincecum. And the batting order brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Weeks, Hart, and Braun at the top. Fielder, McGee, and Lucroy in the middle of the order. Lucroy batting 6th now that Niger Morgan is back, and Morgan occupies that 8th spot in the order. And there is Tim Lincecum coming off a 133 pitch outing against the Oakland Athletics his last time out.
Yeah, let's see how that affects him, but he's one of the best in the business. He's 4th in the National League in earned run average at 2.06 and 4th in strikeouts with those 75.
Lincecum with 9 shutout innings against Oakland, gave up just 3 hits. He did not walk a batter and struck out 6, and the most pitches that a single pitcher has thrown all year in the major leagues. The 133 pitches for Lincecum. Ricky Weeks hitting .288 to start the day, has 8 home runs, 16 driven in. A little bouncer out to Brandon Crawford on his first day in the big leagues, and he makes a play for the out. 1 away. Our Nissan Keys on Lincecum comes from the Brewers hitting coach Dale Swain.
His big pitch is his split finger fastball. You just can't give it enough credit when you're hitting. You have to take advantage of his fastball and his slider when he throws that. He's gonna. It's a very tough pitch to lay off. He's got great arm action on it. It's got great speed and it's got great depth. So you just can't give him enough, any credit for that. You have to be aggressive with him and take advantage of all the mistakes.
And what he means by don't give him too much credit, you can't go up there and look for that split fingered fastball because he throws too hard. There's no way you're going to be able to catch up to the fastball. You just have to hope that you can pick up that splitter. That was a splitter right there. You pick it up and hopefully it's out of the zone.
Eliminate one thing and try to do your best with the rest, but that's what makes Lincecum so tough, is that he has such an arsenal and the great velocity and the incredible repeatable mechanics that he has, unlike any pitcher that has ever played Major League Baseball. He's one of the rare breeds with the flexibility and the mechanics. He is a don't try this at home kind of pitcher.
Talk about a guy that gets the most out of his physical stature. Not a big guy, doesn't look like an overly strong guy, but has good leverage, uses his legs very well, and follows through about as well as anybody.
Lincecum winning the Cy Young Award in 08 and 09. He was an all-star last year for the 3rd straight season. And the way Sean Markham is going along, if they gave out Cy Young awards after the first 2 months of the season, he would certainly be in the picture. So this is a Cy Young Award type matchup tonight in many ways.
And Lincecum with a pretty standard delivery. He's pretty deliberate, bounces on that back leg. He's got a little bit of an extra something at the bottom of that arm swing, and you can see how well he reaches out and finishes that delivery. That's where he gets that good jump.
Hart gets sawed off a little bit, and an easy fly ball to left for the second out. 2 up and 2 down. Let's check the defense behind Lincecum, which becomes more into focus now that Posey is out. But it's Burrell, Torres, and Shearholtz in the outfield. Tejada, Crawford, Sanchez, and Huff around the horn, with Eli Whiteside stepping into the catching spotlight, with Buster Posey out of the lineup for a good measure, maybe the entire season.
Well, if you're Eli Whiteside, you don't try and replace Posey. Do the best you can defensively. You got to be yourself. Sometimes a backup catcher will try a little bit extra hard to put up the numbers that a Buster Posey is going to miss. Can't do it.
And here's one of the great matchups. Anytime you get all-stars like Lincecum, Braun, Fielder, it presents some outstanding confrontations. Braun has had some success against Lincecum in his career. He is 6 for 18 lifetime, and of those 6 hits, 2 of them are home runs.
Have had a decent amount of success against Lincecum. I mean, Lincecum's career numbers against Milwaukee, 2 and 3, and a 4.62 earned run average. For a guy like Lincecum, that's pretty good success. And Ryan Braun right in the middle of that damage.
This will be Lincecum's 8th career start against Milwaukee. As Braun rips one to right field, that's pretty well hit. Back is Shearholtz, and it one hops off the wall. Braun is into second with a double. So he continues his hitting ways against the former Cy Young Award winner.
And that wasn't a bad pitch either. Lincecum, little off-speed pitch, 85 miles an hour. Let's see what it was. It was that splitter that stayed up in his zone a little bit, but watch Ryan. He lets it get back in on him a little bit and able to hit it very hard. One hops that wall out and right. That's a good piece of hitting.
And Braun safe at second, safe and secure, New York life. 9th double of the year for Braun. He's immediately in scoring position for Prince Fielder. And if you're thinking, well, there's a base open at first, Giants might work around Fielder, forget about it. Lincecum doesn't pitch around anyone. Not when you have the stuff and the credentials. Braun takes off. Throw to third is late. Braun steals third base. A risky move by Ryan Braun, but now that he's there, that could play big, at least with pitch selection coming up to Fielder.
Yeah, you throw that split finger fastball in the dirt, Ryan might be able to score, but not a very big lead, but a good jump. A very good jump by Braun. It's a good play if you make it. A terrible move if you get thrown out.
Braun's only been caught once this year. He's 11 out of 12. And Fielder takes one on the outside corner. So a 2-out double and a stolen base. Braun over third for Prince with 41 RBIs this year. Fielder and Braun have been battling for the top 2 positions in the RBI race this season. Fielder coming off a 4 RBI game. And these are the top 2 run producing tandems in the National League and in all of baseball. Fielder leads the league in RBIs. Jay Bruce and Ryan Howard are right behind him, and then Braun with 37. But the top tandems in baseball. See Braun and Fielder at the top. They started hot and they have stayed hot.
Yeah, the Brewers are going to see Jay Bruce next week. That guy is red hot. He's got 14 home runs. That leads the National League.
Bruce has hit some clutch home runs the last few days. Tonight the Reds are in Atlanta. Bruce had some big home runs against the Phillies. Keeping an eye on that Major League scoreboard. A lot of action across the league already underway. Fielder takes a called strike 3, gets rung up on a good fastball from Lincecum. So the Brewers strand a runner at third. Lincecum a scoreless first, and we're off and running at Miller Park. We head to the second.
Two straight sweeps to start this homestand. It has been a total 180 from a season ago through the first 25 games at home. You take a look at the records, it's really literally flip-flop from 9-16 to 19-6 pretty much, and they're doing everything a lot better than they were a year ago. Hard to explain, but the Brewers did not play well at home last year, and this year so far it's been all good, B.A.
Yeah, the best record in the National League to start play today at home. The Brewers are 19-6. And this is the middle of a long stretch as Markham faces Aubrey Huff. And Rock and I talked about this when this stretch of games began, but this is a stretch where they're in game number 17 of a run of 15 out of 19 at home. So they have 3 days left. And the Brewers have done more than take advantage. Through the first 16 of this 19-game stretch, they're 13-3, and that's the best record in the major leagues in that time frame.
And they've won 9 straight here at Miller Park.
Off a bouncing ball into the shift, and Weeks makes a play for out number 1. So the last 16, 13 wins, only 3 losses. The runs are up tremendously, up over 5 a game. Most of those obviously coming at home. Home runs are up as well. 22 home runs in the 16-game stretch. And of course the Brewers are getting terrific pitching. And their starters are going deep and winning ball games.
Yeah, their pitching has been there just about all season long. I mean, even when you consider that 10-game road trip, they went 2-8. For the most part, the pitching was still very good on that trip. But Brewers just weren't scoring runs.
Here's Nate Schierholtz. A little lazy pop up in foul territory. 2 gone in the inning.
Hey, tomorrow against the Giants, all fans will receive a special coupon offer courtesy of Subway. Call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com for tickets.
Now Randy Wolf tomorrow for Milwaukee against Jonathan Sanchez for the San Francisco Giants. That'll be game 2 of the series tomorrow. By the way, that is a 3 o'clock start. A little bit different than from the normal 6 p.m. start time. We're on WMLW tomorrow. Sunday it's Gallardo against Matt Cain. Another
That's a good one.
Tasty pitching matchup.
A couple of lefties tomorrow, pretty much of a similar contrast in styles. Sanchez, a power pitcher, and Randy Wolf, more of a finesse guy like Sean Markham.
There's Sunday's matchup, Gallardo and Kane. No balls and 2 strikes on Miguel Tejada, playing third base tonight for the Giants. Giants are banged up, not just at the catching position, but also in the middle of their infield. And on the left side of their infield, with Mike Fontenot and Mark DeRosa both out due to injuries. Pablo Sandoval is out with a wrist problem as well. He broke the hamate bone in his wrist, and they're calling for the Panda to be gone another 2.5 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, as if things weren't bad enough offensively for the Giants, they lose Posey, and you got to figure that puts a lot of strain on that starting rotation, that pitching staff that's been pretty good. They're going to have to win a bunch of 4-2 games.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Tejada. Inside. Count evens at 2-2.
And Miguel Tejada, far and away the most experience against Markham. He's 10 for 22 with 3 homers against Sean Markham in his career.
Much of that time spent in the American League. Baltimore for Tejada. Giants coming off a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Marlins at home after they swept the Oakland A's in interleague play. Giants were hot. They had won 5 in a row. Then they had an off day. And then the Marlins came in and swept them. The Marlins are for real this year, no doubt about that. And the Brewers are going to see the Marlins on the next road trip. Bouncing ball to Betancourt. And Markham, a 3-up, 3-down second inning. He's retired the first 6. We head to the bottom of the second. Tonight, still a little cool out, although it was a beautiful sunny day in Milwaukee today, and expecting great weather for the Memorial Day weekend. As Lincecum is back on the mound, he'll start his second inning of work. Gave up a double to Braun in the first, stranded him over at third base. As McGee gets sawed off, and Burrell is right there. 1 pitch, 1 out. Take you back to Tim Lincecum's last start. It was on the 21st of May last Saturday, and a home start against the Oakland Athletics, and a dominant performance, his best performance of the season.
Yeah, but 3 hits shutout, did not walk a batter, 6 strikeouts, and it took him 133 pitches to get through those 9 innings. That was at home in San Francisco, so you wonder how much of an effect those 133 pitches are going to have on him tonight.
If you don't know Lincecum's past, he's a guy who does not ice after he pitches. Most pitchers will wrap their elbows and shoulders in ice. Lincecum does not. He believes in flexibility, and he's able to throw a lot of pitches. Nice play, Brandon Crawford, and Lucroy is retired. 2 up, 2 down for Lincecum. Just a reminder, you can click on the Fan Zone tab tonight at foxsportswisconsin.com. And you can win prizes in the new Fox Sports Wisconsin Fan Zone, like team merchandise, game tickets, unique fan experiences, tech toys, and more. And if you're not a member, you can go join right now. It's fast and free, and it's all at the Fan Zone tab, foxsportswisconsin.com. Two gone for Uni Betancourt. Betancourt hitting .232 to start play today, has 3 homers, 18 runs driven in. Brewers had the day off yesterday. It was a scheduled team off day. Swept the Washington Nationals with a victory on Wednesday afternoon. Bouncing ball to Tejada. And that's an easy inning for Lincecum. 1, 2, 3. The Brewers go in order. We go to the third. Up, we head to the third inning. The Brewers and the Giants. Well, the starting pitchers have been a big story for Milwaukee. They've won 6 games over the last 10 and an ERA of 2.95. Starting pitching such a key to the turnaround for the franchise. If the Brewers have postseason aspirations, they obviously needed to improve upon their pitching from a year ago, and they certainly did that with big acquisitions in the offseason. Zach Greinke and Sean Markham. But I think it has elevated everybody's game in that rotation, including Randy Wolf's and Chris Narveson. And now there's some good, healthy competition between the starters. Yep. One feeds off the other.
Yep, the Brewers with a .375 earned run average as a team. That's 8th best in the National League. The bullpen's been very good. Bullpen with a .337 earned run average.
You see the Brewers in the first 50 games. The season comparison. Wow, big difference compared to last year, especially in the walks category. And hopefully there will be no comparison between 2011 and 2010.
Yeah.
But the statistical breakdowns on a number of areas, including the pitching areas, that's really where the difference is right now with this team.
Yep, strikeouts up, walks down. That's always good. You know, these two teams, you know, the Giants and Brewers, tied for third coming in, and team strikeouts for a pitching staff. So both of these teams can blow you away pretty good.
Eli Whiteside. Whiteside is probably glad to have the Giants on the road right now. Obviously, he was Posey's backup, but you know, there's so much talk. We were talking to some of the Giants personnel. It said it sounded and felt like a morgue the day after Posey was injured. And I'm sure Whiteside is a guy who is saying, "Hey, I'm still here. I'll help as much as I can."
But he's no Buster Posey. I mean, Buster Posey is a guy that could potentially be a superstar in this league. Get off to such a good start. As you see, the very good changeup by Sean Markham. Whiteside way out in front of it. You can't replace Buster Posey in your lineup. You can just hope that everybody else steps it up a little bit. But that's going to be tough because the Giants have a lot of their run producers on the disabled list.
That was a very similar story to a year ago. The Giants, you just weren't sure if they were going to be able to hit enough to make a run, and they went out and made a few deals, namely the Cody Ross deal. As wouldn't you know it, Tim Lincecum collects the first hit of the ball game for the Giants. First base runner against Sean Markham comes with 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, anybody with a bat in their hand can potentially be dangerous. Lincecum, an .045 batting average. He was 1 for 22. Markham gave him a fastball down. He got a bat on it and a base hit. Can't take anybody lightly in that batter's box.
What's going on in the game right now? We got pitchers doing damage at the plate, like Carlos Zambrano and Cliff Lee last night. We got position players doing damage on the mound, like Wilson Valdez picking up a victory 2 days ago for the Phillies. He was the winning pitcher, the Phillies' second baseman, who pitched in the 19th inning against the Reds, and had a scoreless inning and earned a win.
Yeah, Zambrano had 3 hits in his last start, right? Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, Cliff Lee drove in a couple of runs. Back to the top of the order, Andres Torres. He tried to bunt his way on in the 1st inning. Popped it up to Lucroy. Markham working from the stretch for the first time tonight. Markham has shown more life on his fastball tonight than he has all year. He spotted one at 90 miles an hour. That was at 88.
Yeah, that's rare. I mean, usually around 86 to 88. That's usually enough to get it done with all his off-speed pitches.
A changeup at 68 miles an hour, his low pitch. Now Markham pitches with a heavy heart tonight. He is from Missouri, lives in Kansas City, but is from the area of Joplin, about a half an hour away, where all the tornadoes hit. Such devastating damage there in Joplin, Missouri, and they're still trying to recover. And
boy, tough pictures that you see over the television, and I can only imagine what goes through Markham's mind when he sees that.
He knows the streets well. He knows the town well. But all of Markham's family and friends accounted for, and all okay. Markham found out about the news last week, and certainly has seen these pictures and has talked to those back home. Just wiping out an entire stretch of a town, and it's going to be a long rebuilding process, and we're certainly working on efforts with Sean Markham to try to figure out how we can best support that recovery. Full count to Andres Torres. Lincecum at first base. He's on the run, and that one is hit in the air to left. Long run for Braun. That slices away from him into the seats.
Join Foley and Lardner in striking out hunger in Milwaukee. Support Foley and Lardner's Cans for a Cause, benefiting Hunger Task Force by bringing canned goods to this Sunday's Brewers game against the San Francisco Giants.
After this 3-game series with the Giants, the homestand wraps up. The Brewers will hit the road. They'll start a series on Monday in Cincinnati. Memorial Day in Cincinnati. Another 3-2. Lincecum goes, and a bouncing ball foul. So the Giants starting pitcher doing some wind sprints between first and second, as Torres has fouled off 3 consecutive 3-2 pitches.
Anything you can to tucker him out, right? I don't think it's going to work. I mean, this guy Lincecum has about as much energy as anybody in baseball. 9 pitches to Torres so far.
Torres, a good hitter, has some power, not showing much of that this year. He pulls that one foul. Lincecum will retreat once again.
Nigel Morgan saying keep hitting the foul balls. Nigel Morgan leads off the 3rd inning for Milwaukee. Just keep them going, running on the pitch. 3-2 pitch. Got to go back.
4 in a row he's done that. And he'll be off again. Another 3-2. Got him. Markham strikes out Andres Torres. 3rd strikeout for Sean Markham. And the Giants get a hit, but they strand a runner. 3 scoreless in the books for Markham. Wisconsin is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. Try our $5 featured footlong of the month. Subway, where winners eat. Under the roof of Miller Park, Milwaukee, and game 1 of this series with the Giants. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes, and we take you back. Nigel Morgan ready to return to action tonight. He fractured his finger on May 5th against Johnny Venters of the Atlanta Braves. That was only his 2nd game back after he had been on the disabled list with a right leg injury. So Morgan activated. Mike Rivera outrighted to AAA Nashville today, and Brandon Boggs sent out as well. The Brewers acquired a shortstop, Josh Wilson, from the Arizona Diamondbacks. So 2 in, 2 out, and here is a fan favorite already, despite only 15 games of the season, Nyjer Morgan.
Yeah, talk about bringing energy to the ballpark. Nyjer Morgan now back on the active roster, and I talked to Ron Renneke before today's game about Josh Wilson. He's excited to have him because now he can use Craig Counsell a little bit earlier off the bench and still has somebody that can play shortstop.
And we'll introduce you to Josh Wilson. There he is. And no doubt in the National League setting he'll be used a great deal more. He was in AAA with the Diamondbacks, swinging the bat very well. But Morgan is back as well. And you got to like the fact that he's squaring to bunt in his first trip back to the plate. 2 stints on the disabled list. He's been down in Arizona the last couple of days preparing for this start. And in Arizona, I guess you can hit leadoff every inning if you want. He said he saw a number of pitches and got about 30 at-bats over a 2-day stretch.
And that's the way to do it. I mean, why go to a minor league team where you're only going to get maybe a handful of at-bats, 3-4 at-bats a night. Take you about a week to get that many at-bats. So good to have Nyjer back. Ron Renneke very happy with the lineup that he wrote out today.
And Morgan slaps one to left field, a base hit. No big league at bats in 2 weeks. Facing Tim Lincecum, no problem.
And you allow Sean Martin to go up there and drop down a bunt now. This is what Nyjer Morgan does as well as anybody. A fastball just slices it into left field. So good speed at first base, and you've got another base stealer out there for Milwaukee.
You mentioned Ron Renneke in the lineup, and this was the lineup he had in mind when the Brewers broke camp. You'll start to see more of a platoon with Nyjer Morgan and Carlos Gomez. He has that extra infielder that he has not had all season. So more balance. There's another right-handed bat. And I think Ron Renneke is very pleased with his roster right now. His 25-man roster finally where he wants it. I would say the only big omission is Takashi Saito, who is such a big part of the bullpen in a setup role. But you got to give a lot of credit to Cameron Lowe, who has done that job beautifully this year.
Yeah, you'd like to have at least one left-hander out in your bullpen. The Brewers don't have that quite yet. I tell you, as much as he likes his starting lineup, he loves his bench right now. You got some veterans that he can use to come off that bench. You got Gomez that can pinch run and is a heck of an outfielder. Counsell, Kotze, 2 professional hitters. There's your backup catcher, and Josh Wilson. Again, not a whole lot of information. I imagine folks in Milwaukee don't know much about him, but he's a slick fielding middle infielder. He'll go up there and steal a base for you. And again, allow Renneke to use Counsell off the bench a little bit earlier than he has in the past.
Well, sometimes you need a big hit or a big walk earlier in a game, 6th, 7th inning. Now Markham handles the bat well. Lincecum is no fun to hit off of, nor is he any fun to bunt off of as well. He's tough. Top of the order coming up next. It's another advantage to having a speedy player in the 8th spot. It doesn't take a perfect bunt to advance Morgan to second.
Well, and ideally you'd like to bunt it toward first base. When you're dealing with a guy like Lincecum, you're just glad to get it on the ground somewhere. You have Miguel Tejada, crashing at third base. Huff has to hold the runner, and Lincecum fields his position very well.
We've seen in the past Brewers pitchers authorized to show bunt, pull the bat back, and swing away if they feel the infielders crashing in on them too much. Markham lays off, and the count evens at 2-2. Markham has 4 sacrifice bunts this season. Has 3 hits at the plate. He's 3 for 21. And he gets down a beauty. Only players first. There's the advantage of speed, as Morgan made it a no-brainer for Aubrey Huff. Sacrifice bunt. And a good hand for Markham as he heads back to the dugout.
Yeah, as long as you get it on the ground. I mean, ideally like to bunt a little bit softer, but with Lincecum out there throwing that heavy sinker, and you just put it on the ground and you hope that Nigel Morgan gets a good jump, and with his speed he's able to get into second base without a play. That's the way you do it. Bunt at the first base. Tougher play for that first baseman.
And there is Morgan in scoring position with Ricky Weeks coming up. Second time through the order against Lincecum. Fifth sacrifice for Markham this year.
Brewers have been much better at dropping down sacrifice bunts this year, particularly the pitchers. That's their 14th this year. Top half in the National League in sacrifices. See the way Markham, he squares early and he's got a good bend in the knees and has that bat head out in front. See the way he just catches the baseball with the barrel of the bat. You ideally like to catch it with the end of the bat, but with Lincecum out there, you just get it on the ground and hope for the best.
Now the Brewers a chance to give Markham the lead here. Morgan at second, and Weeks takes one off the plate. 2 balls, no strikes on Ricky Weeks. Lincecum an extra peek in there to Mike McClinsky, the home plate umpire. Corey Hart would be next. Ricky bounced out his last time up. And that one's ripped deep left center field. And she's not coming back. Ricky Weeks with a 2-run homer. And the Brewers keep banging away here on this homestand. Weeks with number 9. 2-0 Milwaukee.
It looked almost like the same pitch that Lincecum threw on the 1-0 count. Look at a little breaking ball. This one stayed up a little bit more, and Ricky Weeks, actually that's that splitter. A 2-0 split. Or it's a slider. That's what it was. It was a slider that stayed right down the middle of the plate. The second time Ricky Weeks has taken Tim Lincecum out of the ballpark.
And Ricky's second home run on this current leg of the homestand, and you don't see much emotion from Ricky Weeks that often, but fired up about that one. A quick 2-spot for the Brewers.
Now you homer off one of the league's best. I mean, you're entitled to a little bit of a smile, and that hanging slider hit a ton into left center out there in the picnic area at Fridays. And no cheapie there. 2-0. Ricky got a good one to hit, and he hammered it.
So Weeks now with 18 runs batted in. So productive from the leadoff spot in the order. His Hart goes into right field. That's playable for Shearholtz. Out number 2. You know, the Brewers talk about their balance this year in their lineup with the speed and the power. They've always had the speed, but they haven't necessarily used it. But under this new manager, Ron Renicky, we're seeing a lot more aggressive base running. You're seeing, speed in different parts of the lineup. Braun already has a stolen base here tonight, but it's a pretty good example of what the Brewers can do with speed at the bottom, a slap hitter in Nigel Morgan, which you would consider small ball, and then the power at the top to do what they do best, and that's hit home runs.
Always good to have that threat down at the bottom. You get rallies going. You can't rely on the top 5 all the time. Well, the Brewers now with 55 home runs this year. That's second best in the league.
Now Braun doubled against Lincecum his last time up. Doubled over Shearholtz's head in right field. Was eventually stranded at third. Braun lifetime now hitting .368 against Tim Lincecum. covering 19 at bats. He's 7 for 19. Ball and 2 strikes. And that one just missed. 2-2 the count.
Doesn't miss by much, does he? He really doesn't. You know, it's a fine line you walk, you know, trying to be too patient with Lincecum. Yeah, he'll play with those corners a little bit with that breaking pitch, but times than not, he's going to challenge you with a fastball. This might be a time when he does it here.
Yeah, good call. The fastball gets Braun, ties him up inside. And the side retired, but not before. Ricky Weeks continues to go long ball at Miller Park. Number 9 for Ricky. 2-0 Brewers.
Good pitching matchup tonight. Tim Lincecum with a pair of punch-outs over 3 innings. Sean Markham has been just as impressive with 3 strikeouts and only allowing 1 hit. The big blow came in the bottom of the 3rd. Ricky Weeks, a 2-run home run, his 9th of the year, to put the Crew on the board first with a 2-0 lead, and that's where we stand here in the top of the 4th. BA.
All right, thanks a lot, Telly, as we head to the Giants half of the 4th inning. And it's Freddie Sanchez leading off for San Francisco. Giants second baseman, one of the few Giants in this lineup that is swinging the bat right now. .293 average coming into play today. Here's Betancourt. Nice easy hop for him. And a good throw, and Markham has his first out of the 4th inning. Our AT&T trivia tonight. Which National League team was the last to win back-to-back World Series? Oh, that's a good question. Giants are hoping to do that this year. Came out of nowhere last year. Got some key pieces in place. And boy, did they turn it on. And they really turned it on once Buster Posey was put into the starting lineup every day. Remember, the Giants traded away Benji Molina. And Posey was actually officially named as the everyday catcher while the Giants were here in Milwaukee last year. That was in July, in early July. Burrell skies 1 to Prince. Out number 2. Now the Brewers are red hot at home, so don't miss a chance to see, I bet, see the Brewers take on the New York Mets when they return to Miller Park Tuesday through Thursday, June 7th, 8th, and 9th. Tickets are going fast. Call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com. There's a little hesitation there. I didn't want to jinx them.
Right.
But then I felt duty called.
Do what you have to do.
Fix that in post, as we like to say. 2 outs for Aubrey Huff. been a down season for Huff, a .215 batting average. Does have 23 RBIs though. I mean, that's, as far as production goes, you could say that's a heavy .215, I guess, but not the kind of production the Giants are going to need.
And 4 home runs, as you mentioned, at 23 RBIs. The on-base percentage at .270. That's not very good for your cleanup hitter.
In the air, shallow center field. Nigel Morgan wants it. And Markham is clicking away here. 3 up and 3 down. 4 scoreless on the board for Sean Markham. And the Crew on top of the Giants 2-0. Big crowd tonight on a Friday night in Milwaukee. Boy, it's great to see everybody at the ballpark, and we're glad you've joined us at home or wherever you may be watching this game. Prince Fielder leads off against Tim Lincecum. Fielder struck out in the first inning. Lincecum able to strand Braun over at third base with that strikeout. Brewers got their 2 runs with 1 swing of the bat last inning. Weeks homered. Fielder with 11 homers, 41 runs batted in. Well, he's had a memorable homestand as well. And that dramatic walk-off home run against the Rockies. Pat Burrell will make the catch for out number 1. Well, Rock, today we spent a little time out there at Whitman Middle School. That's where I was with Craig Counsell. The SCORE program today, the SCORE for Excellence. Brewers players and coaches visited 30 area middle schools to support the program. Craig Counsell did a great job. Very impressive in front of the middle schoolers there at Whitman and Wauwatosa.
How'd you do?
All I did was introduce Craig Counsell to a big ovation. I handed him the microphone.
And you took off, jumped in your car and went home?
No, we stayed there until the end. I want to thank Kurt Konecki from Gordon Flesh Company. He was there as a presenting sponsor, and Principal Kiernan did a great job keeping the kids, in place and very polite. I got a pack of baseball cards.
And that's not an easy thing to keep the kids quiet. Sometimes.
Not with the anticipation of Craig Counsell.
Yeah. I went out a couple of years ago with Prince. You talk about a bunch of kids. There's about 100 of them. Jaws dropped and didn't say a word.
So we show up. We got some baseball cards, Rock, from Mr. Matthew. Steve Matthews, one of the teachers there. I thought we'd open it up.
Baseball cards?
See what we get. Look at that. What dumb the luck.
Yeah, I think that was staged. Well done.
These are
nice.
from 1992. So I want to thank Mr. Matthew for see if we got any winners in here. Paul Abbott. Bunch of Giants cards. There's a base hit by Lucroy. So Lucroy handcuffs Miguel Tejada for a single. Another 2-out hit.
Yep, continues his hot hitting, coming in 319. Boy, Jonathan turning on that fastball. Not sure it was supposed to be inside. That's where it ended up. It was supposed to be away, and Lincecum missed by the width of the plate and almost undressed Miguel Tejada.
Yuniesky Betancourt now.
Got anything good in there?
Checking through here. I got a Rock Raines card. Tim Raines in a White Sox uniform. That's a good one. Pedro Guerrero. Oh, here's a good one. Sean Dunston in mid-flight.
He or the baseball?
Both. Oh, you'll never guess. So here's what's amazing. All right, now this is a random 1992 set. You know who that is? It's Roberto Kelly. He is the first base coach of the Giants. You can go get that signed later if you want. He's here in the ballpark. Tim Raines. Betancourt sends one to center field. This will stay in the ballpark. Andres Torres makes a play for the out. Yeah. Pedro Guerrero, Reed Nichols, Mark Leonard. Win a trip to the All-Star game. Compliments of Scott's.
And tonight's time of the game winner is the Varsity Club in New Berlin. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and our good friends at Miller Lite.
How's your lawn looking there, Rock?
Very, very good.
Get my Scott's guy over there and take a look at it.
Yeah, I think we need him over, but we've had plenty of water.
Yeah, plenty of rain. That Kentucky bluegrass is coming in nice.
Good time to fertilize, isn't it?
Oh, we're already past that. We're already into like phase 2 now.
Maybe throw some seed down.
It's all about seed. Get it thick, nice and thick, just like the ballpark. Sean Markham has been impressive so far. 4 shutout innings. Has given up just 1 hit. That was by the pitcher Lincecum. Came with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. He immediately struck out Andres Torres to get out of the inning. And a little flare, that's going to fall. A base hit. Nate Shearholtz. A single to right. Second Giants hit. This time it comes to lead off an inning. Back to our AT&T trivia. Which National League team was the last to win back-to-back World Series? And you got to go back to the Big Red Machine, the Cincinnati Reds, 75 and 76. It's only happened 3 times in the history of the National League.
Wow.
Cubs did it 07-08, and you know what's happened to them since. The New York Giants, 21 and 22. John McGraw managing that team. They had a Lincecum type pitcher named Christy Mathewson. Called him the Big Six.
A little bit bigger than Lincecum, though.
Oh, yeah.
They have Tim Lincecum listed in the media guide at 6 feet.
I don't think so, huh? Maybe in his spikes on a concrete floor.
That's under review. 6 feet, 170.
One of the biggest stars in the game, Tim Lincecum. Affectionately known as the Freak. He's so calm he's got time to break off a nice yawn in that dugout. And if you're wondering how could he possibly yawn when he's the starting pitcher, you know, the only way to succeed in this game is to be relaxed.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a nervous yawn, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, way of calming down, way of recharging the batteries a bit.
Tejada pulls it foul.
So the yawn might be just the opposite of what you think it might be.
Might be a forced relaxation mechanism because his knees are bouncing. Dave Righetti, the Giants pitching coach. No balls, 2 strikes on Tejada. Giants with a leadoff single. And Markham looking for the ground ball here with Tejada at the plate.
Doing a nice job, Markham, on Tejada, getting him on the inside part of the plate, up and in. A couple of times he's done it. Tejada grounded a shortstop and a ball in on him his first time up. Tejada's big power is to right center. He's always been a very good opposite field hitter.
That's hit hard to center field. Morgan right there. And the Brewers catch a break. Line drive out for Tejada. Just a reminder, this week Fox Saturday Baseball is back in prime time as the Cardinals take on the Colorado Rockies. This week's telecast on Fox Saturday Baseball in prime time begins at 6 p.m. Central. Only on Fox tomorrow.
Did you see Tony La Russa was complaining about the bullpen mounds in Colorado? They're saying it's not the same as the home team's bullpen mound, which makes it a bit of an advantage for the Rockies. Imagine that coming from Tony La Russa.
They have been critical of opponents' mounds, baseballs. Remember in Cincinnati, the Cardinals to do last year about the baseballs being too slick. At least their half of the baseballs. Got a chance here. Markham to second. Betancourt, nicely done. Sean Markham showing off his infielder skills right there. 1-6-3 double play, inning over. Good battle tonight. Great matchup on the mound. Lincecum and Markham as we head to inning number 5. Brewers half of the 5th inning. And Nigel Morgan leading off his first game back from the disabled list. Broken finger sent him to the DL trying to bunt. Second trip to the disabled list this year. Hard to believe he's only played in 15 games. But an impact player. And Morgan started the 3rd inning with a base hit, and he was on base when Weeks took Lincecum out of the ballpark. A 2-run home run in the 3rd. Morgan did not want to go to the minor leagues. He felt like he was ready immediately to step back into the lineup. Ron Renicky quickly squashed that notion. That one is slapped down the line. That is going to get by Burrell. Oh, it takes a big hop, and Morgan will end up at second base. So Nigel Morgan making his presence felt tonight. His second hit against Lincecum.
Now, he is something else. I mean, he is a catalyst, an igniter, taking a page out of the Paul Molitor book. Yeah, getting a lot of the plate with a fastball that time is Lincecum, and Nigel Morgan does what he does so well. Slices that ball down the line. The Giants got a bit of a break, that ball hitting that area over there. That ball goes in the corner. That might be a triple.
Burrell has had his struggles in left field in this ballpark. You think back to his Phillies days. As Markham tries to advance Morgan over to third base.
Well, last time you want to bunt the ball toward first. This time you want to bunt it toward third to make Tejada vacate the bag.
Markham dropped down a sacrifice bunt back in the 3rd inning. Put Morgan at second base. And then Weeks hit the home run. You know, and one pitch plays off the next. You never know what would have happened, but with a runner in scoring position, pitchers are obviously a little more dialed in. It becomes a little more of a pressure sequence with the next hitter. Lincecum immediately fell behind Weeks after Markham's bunt. Got behind him 2-0, and then Weeks took him deep.
Well, Lincecum wasn't trying to be too aggressive with Ricky because he threw him a slider. He just hung it, and it looked as though Ricky was looking for it. 2-0 slider from a guy like Lincecum is not one you would be ordinarily looking for.
2 balls and a strike. And Markham gets it down foul. Miller Park's a bit different than a lot of parks around the league in the lines here. You see the cut of the grass. There's actually a little bit of dirt prior to the foul line. And that could affect how baseballs roll.
Yeah, if you don't get that ball in the grass, it's always going to go foul. Yeah, particularly, when you're bunting like that, just by the nature of the spin that the ball has when it comes off the bat. That counterclockwise rotation is going to push it foul unless you get it on the grass.
There are a lot of infields around the league where the grass goes almost all the way up to the line. You see the Giants closer Brian Wilson menacingly looking on. Two balls, 2 strikes. Corner infielders crashing in on Markham. And he bunts, and there's another good bunt. Boy, Sean Markham, a bunting clinic tonight. Not an easy task against Tim Lincecum. Well, excellent sacrifice.
And he bunted the ball in the 3rd inning to first base like he had to, with Morgan at first base. And Morgan at second. He had to bunt it toward third, and that's exactly what he did. You can't do it any better than that. Good technique. He bunted it exactly where he had to. If he bunts that ball to first base, I don't think they're going to be able to advance Morgan because Aubrey Huff is right on top of him. He's creeping in. If he bunts that ball, there might be a play because Tejada's going to be able to stay home at third base.
2 sacrifice bunts for Markham that leads the club. And now Morgan at third base with just 1 out. And Ricky Weeks the batter. And with the Giants infield in, Lincecum, you know he's thinking about a strikeout here. Cut and a miss. I'll take you back to the third inning with 1 out. Weeks got ahead in the count 2-0. And sends one out of here. Home run number 9 for Ricky Weeks. They're only scoring tonight. The Brewers lead 2-0.
And that last pitch to Ricky was that split. A 1-0 splitter. And Ricky with a big hat came up empty.
Weeks has broken into the top 10 in the league in home runs with that clout in the third inning. But this is a spot that calls for contact, especially now that he's down a ball and 2 strikes. It's another benefit to have so much speed at third base. Be anxious to see if Morgan is taking off on contact here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a little bouncer. Here comes Morgan. The throw to the plate. The slide. Safe at home. Morgan sneaks by Whiteside.
Wow, pretty close.
3-0 Milwaukee. Very close play at the plate. And instead of crashing into the catcher, Morgan goes to the backside of the dish, and he's in there.
Well, and if he crashed into the catcher, he probably would have been out, because catchers don't have to make tags when there's contact on a play at the plate. Nigel Morgan, he stays in foul territory, slides to the back end of the base or the home plate, pretty close. And a safe sign by the home plate umpire.
Bruce Bochy just got tossed. It's been a very frustrating 3 days for the Giants, and it all comes pouring out here on home plate umpire Mike McClinsky as Bochy has been ejected.
It has been very frustrating. They have had a tough time scoring runs, and any run that you put on the board against them makes it that much more difficult for them. It was a bang-bang play. Could have gone either way, but a great jump off of third base by Niger to be able to score the run. How about that guy? 2 runs scored. Very close. Very, very close.
Even with the 3 looks.
The ball beat him. And boy, I tell you, on that super slow motion, looked like he might have had the right call. It was close. But kudos to Nigel Morgan for sliding and not trying to make contact with the catcher.
Morgan making things happen here tonight for the Brewers.
Eerily similar to the play that ended Buster Posey's season.
And you know that had to be flashing through the minds of the Giants and Giants fans. Hart bangs one into left field, a base hit. And the Brewers keep it going against Lincecum here in the 5th. 2 on now with Braun coming up. Still just 1 out. Dave Righetti is on his way to the mound. Speaking of collisions, our carsuit.com email to booth question comes from John in Germantown. And Rock, he wants to know, do you think there should be a rule change on home plate collisions?
Well, first of all, what rule are we talking about? I'm not sure if there is a rule that covers, home plate collisions, but the one thing you have to be careful about, I mean, when you are making a play at home plate, I mean, you have to be ready for contact. Now, here's my idea, and Nigel Morgan did this well. You see this 45-foot area right here at first base. Runners have to run in that line when they get to first base so as not to make contact. I propose to make a line right here that forces a base runner to stay in foul territory. So a runner who makes contact with a catcher who is in fair territory, if you have 1 foot out of that line, you make contact, you're out. Automatically you're out. And there was a good example of why Nigel Morgan did the right thing. Whiteside was in fair territory. He wasn't across the line. He wasn't blocking home plate, which forces the runner to slide.
Braun lifts one in the air to left. Just missed it. And both runners are going to tag here, and Weeks is going to try. Weeks on his way to third. The throw, and it's in time to get the out. Inning ends just like that. with Prince Fielder coming up. The Brewers challenge the arm of Pat Burrell, and it bites him. That's a big bat to leave in the on-deck circle, but Nyjer Morgan scores the third run of the ball game, and it's 3-0. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. Good crowd on hand tonight on a Friday night. Final 3 games of this homestand. And then the Brewers will hit the road. Good game going here. The Brewers lead 3-0, 6th inning. Markham has been fantastic so far. He's given up just 2 hits, both singles, but has faced just 1 over the minimum. Eli Whiteside takes a strike, and it's quickly 0-2, and Whiteside's barking a little bit. Morgan has scored 2 of the 3 runs tonight in his first game back from the disabled list. Got him. Markham rings him up, and Whiteside is close to being tossed.
That's the last thing Bruce Bochy needs, is to have another catcher out. They brought a kid up from the minor leagues, Chris Stewart. He's the backup catcher. A 67-mile-an-hour curveball to get strike 2, and that one right at the bottom of the strike zone. Looks like it was just barely high enough, and it looked like it had the corner.
4th strikeout for Markham. You look at Markham's stat sheet, and if you had never seen him pitch before, you just assume he's a power pitcher. Racks up a lot of wins, low ERA, a bunch of strikeouts. Anything but. He's a pitcher's pitcher. Lincecum has one of the 2 Giants hits. He had the first hit for San Francisco back in the 3rd inning. It's a single back up the middle. Markham 6 wins, only 1 loss. 2.37 ERA to start play today. Lincecum down the line almost. Markham became the 3rd Brewer to win the Player of the Week honor in the National League this year. Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, and now Sean Markham on that list of the 7 weeks that we played. Got him on a changeup. Strikeout number 5 for Sean Markham.
Yeah, both of them very effective, Lincecum and Markham, and they both do it very differently. There's a nice off-speed pitch. Change up. You can see the rotation going away from Lincecum, and the big swing, he comes up empty.
2 quick outs, back-to-back strikeouts. Back to the top of the order, Andres Torres. And he surprised him with a fastball. Markham just changes the plan, hitter by hitter. Just when you think you're on top of his game, you feel like you know what he wants to do to get you out, he reverses course on you.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, he's got such good location with all of his pitches that, you know, it really doesn't matter if you know a changeup is coming. You might hit it, but you're going to hit it on the ground because he does such a good job keeping it down in the strike zone. He very rarely hangs it up in the zone where you can really get a good swing at it. Same thing with the curveball. From time to time, he will make mistakes with his fastball.
A shake and a nod, and here he comes with an 0-2. Wanted to show him the fastball up and away. Hitters talk about Markham as moving the sightlines. He goes up and down, in and out.
Rocking the boat. Up and down, in and out. You're not sure what you're going to get. He'll four seam the fastball. He'll sink it. Good curveball. And Jonathan Lucroy has been on the same page with him each and every time he's been back there. He's done a nice job with Sean.
Except this time he goes through every pitch. 5 shakes to the curveball.
But if you'll notice, he put a curveball down the first time.
Very good point.
He shook to it. He said no, and then he went back to it. You know, it's like a lot of pitchers. A catcher will shake his head back there in an obvious fastball situation, and you know everybody knows he wants to throw a fastball. You put a little bit element of doubt in the hitter's mind when you shake. So Lucroy had to throw down 4 different signs after he threw down the initial 2 and went right back to the curveball.
He went through them all again, and the slider that misses outside. And I guess the other part of that story is Lucroy is ready. He's quickly ready for the next offer. You know, you don't want to be thinking as a catcher on what you're going to put down next.
Process of elimination. He's going to shake yes to something here.
1 changeup, slider, inside, outside. Okay, fastball in. Let's do it. Almost on cue as we talk about how in sync Lucroy is with Markham. He is shaken off. Let's see, 16 pitches in the last 4 sequences. All right, here we go. Changeup, nope. Fastball, all right. Number 2 option. And he walks him. So that is the first walk for Markham, and it makes sense that Jonathan Lucroy would be on his way to the mound. Quick trip to the mound for Lucroy.
I'm not going out there saying no. If you threw what I threw down first, I hung first for you, you wouldn't have walked him. Let's go now.
It's Murphy's Law, right? Markham has been very positive in his praise for Jonathan Lucroy. Matter of fact, Lucroy called him this offseason once the trade was made, which impressed Markham a great deal. The young 24-year-old catcher making a phone call in the offseason to this new acquisition and just wanted to get to know him. What do you like to do? What kind of video should I watch? Just help me begin to think about the process. Markham was very impressed by that.
Yeah. Takes it seriously, getting a pitcher through a game.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Throw to second base is not in time. Maybe a little high with the throw. And Torres gets to the back of the bag at second base. A steal for Andres Torres.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit high. He had a pretty good jump. He went on an off-speed pitch. A changeup. Took a little bit longer to get there, but you know, the call goes to the Giants. They were due for one. Could have gone either way there, too. There's that changeup. Takes a touch longer to get to home plate.
That was close. Lucroy has had a tough time throwing out base runners this year. Ron Renicky saying a lot of that is pinned to the pitchers as well, as is usually the case. So now runner at second, and the 0-2 into left field, a base hit. Here comes Torres, and Braun will make the throw to second. And the Giants steal a run here in the 6th inning.
Yeah, there you go. A walk comes around to score. And that's what the Giants have to do to score runs. They don't hit many homers. A walk, a stolen base, and a base hit off the end of the bat. And that wasn't a bad pitch. I mean, how can you argue with that pitch? It might have been up a little bit, but that was clearly about 3-4 inches off the corner. And look at Sanchez. You kidding me? Hooking that pitch into left field. I mean, way out in front, off his front foot. Pretty good piece of hitting by the Giants second baseman.
Former batting champion in the National League as a member of the Pirates back in '06. So now the big bat in this lineup, Pat Burrell, will hit with a runner at first. Burrell representing the tying run. And that gets away from Lucroy, and Sanchez on his way to second. A wild pitch. 2 quick outs for Markham. Had back-to-back strikeouts. In a tough battle with Torres, he ended up walking him. And now in a bit of trouble here.
Yep, the breaking ball down in the zone. Jonathan gets in front of it, but hits a little bit too hard off the chest.
Burrell is 0 for 2 against Markham. A strikeout and a pop-up. And that one gets away from Lucroy. So another wild pitch, and Freddie Sanchez ends up at third.
Yeah, Jonathan tried to backhand that one, and that's a no-no. Got to try and get in front of him, keeping him in front of you. A lot of things can go wrong when you backhand a breaking ball in the dirt. Goes off the heel of the glove, and another free pass, a free base for Freddie Sanchez.
Looked like he might have got crossed up as Burrell pops it up. This toward the seats. Lucroy reaches up and over, and he cannot make the play.
Well, the fan knocked it out of the glove. He realizes now what he did.
Somewhere Steve Bartman is smiling.
Well, the ball's in the stands. It belongs to the fans unless you can grab it. There's that fan in the front row.
Well, let's hope that doesn't come back to haunt him here as Markham in a 2-1 count on Burrell. Two and two. There are a lot of fans in this ballpark right now rooting for an out. None more than that guy. Who will be the biggest Sean Markham fan in Wisconsin if he gets Burrell here.
But who amongst us sitting in that seat wouldn't have gone for that baseball?
That's the thing.
And he's looking up. He doesn't know Lucroy's coming at him. Not his fault.
He's protecting his seat and his Miller Lite.
And he wants it, and he wants the baseball. I'd have done the same thing, sir.
No, you're fine. It's not your fault. Whatever happens here is not your fault. Seems like a nice guy. 2-2. Burrell into left. Ryan Braun is there. No harm, no foul. No Bartman here at Miller Park. As Markham gets out of it. Run in for the Giants. 3-1 Milwaukee. is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By Airtran, go, there's nothing stopping you. And by the Miller Lite Vortex bottle, taste greatness. Roof is closed at Miller Park. Great night at the ballpark tonight. Big crowd, seeing some offense, some speed, some power. And what a pitching matchup. Lincecum against Sean Markham. Right now the Brewers lead at 3-1. A 2-run home run by Ricky Weeks in the third inning. Weeks driving in the third run in the fifth on a fielder's choice. As Prince Fielder fouls it away. Take you back to the last inning. The Brewers were at the plate. Remember Weeks tagging up on basically a routine fly ball to left field and was thrown out. It was a great throw by Burrell, but it left fielder standing in the on deck circle, which is why he is leading off this inning as opposed to batting with 2 on last inning.
Yeah, you never want to make the third out at third base, particularly when your cleanup hitter's coming up.
Both runners tagged on that play. Hart was following Weeks. Off the chest of Crawford. He recovers. High throw. And the tag on the back of Prince as he runs by. Brandon Crawford in his first day in the big leagues. An adventuresome out to retire Prince Fielder.
That ball was smoked by Prince. A couple of hops that ate him up over at shortstop. And a bit of a panicked throw. And Aubrey Huff able to make the adjustment and get the out. Prince hits this one right on the nose. And just eat him up. And look at Huff go off the bag and make the tag. Good play.
I got him right across the back. Now McGee into left field. Burrell going back at the track, and he's got it for the out. Line drive out for Casey McGee. Tough luck. Log on to FoxSportsWisconsin.com. Check out the photo zone for our list gallery featuring the 5 teams, including this weekend's the Giants. Brewers outfielder Ryan Braun has had the most success against. Check it out now, FoxSportsWisconsin.com. So 2 outs. Fielder and McGee retired, and it's going to be Lucroy now. Lucroy having a great start to his season. Has a hit tonight against Lincecum, hitting .325 now. And you got to start talking about Jonathan Lucroy as putting together an all-star type season at this point when you compare him to the rest of the National League catchers, especially the elite catchers.
Yep, he's been one of the better run producing catchers in the National League so far this year.
And doing most of his damage in 10 fewer games. Missed the first 10
after that base hit.
That one's hit well. Fair foul as it hooks. Foul. Just got out ahead of it. Ball and 2 strikes.
I guess when you talk about, catchers and all-star catchers, you think of Brian McCann first. Brian McCann putting together tremendous seasons. McCann had .274 with 4 home runs and 25 RBIs. So John Lucroy right there with him.
Lucroy is second among everyday catchers in the National League in RBIs to start play today, behind McCann. Buster Posey had driven in 21 runs, had 4 homers. There's a list. Now this is a list of top catchers offensively in the National League. Montero's having a good start to the season in Arizona, but he compares favorably with all those catchers.
Yeah, run producing and with far less games.
Has the highest batting average among that group.
A lot of times it's a popularity contest. You know, Yadier Molina is a popular catcher in the National League. He's hitting .318.
One and two the count. 2-2. Lincecum's been an all-star the last 3 years. I thought it was interesting. Ron Renicky was talking about Lucroy, and one of the members of the press asked him after a game the other day in the post-game press conference, did you see this coming from Lucroy? And Renicky immediately pointed to Dale Swaim and said, Dale did. Dale saw that he was a good hitter and gave a lot of credit to the hitting coach for spotting Lucroy as he swings and misses. Lincecum blows him away with a fastball. 3 up and 3 down for Tim Lincecum. And we are headed to the 7th inning. Brewers 3, Giants 1.
Summary. 2-time Cy Young Award winner Tim Lincecum on the mound for the Giants, but he's getting outpitched by Sean Markham so far through 6 innings. He's only allowed 3 hits and 5 strikeouts. Bottom of the third, Ricky Weeks will put the Brewers on the board first with a 2-run home run to give the Crew a 2-0 lead, and Nigel Morgan in the bottom of the 5th would beat the tag to give the Crew a 3-0 lead. It's now 3-1 as Freddie Sanchez came up with a 2-out RBI single to make it a 3-1 ball game. BA.
All right, Telly, thanks. And the lone walk for Markham tonight would eventually score. That's the only blemish on his line this evening through 6 innings. He's only given up the 3 hits. Aubrey Huff leads off for San Francisco. Huff is 0 for 2 tonight. Has just 2 hits in his last 21 at-bats. Huff signing a multi-year contract with the Giants after his successful season of 2010. And that's a fair ball down the line. Hard over to cut it off, and Huff on his way to second with a double. A leadoff double, just snuck it inside the bag at first.
Yeah, able to hook an off-speed pitch, and Huff got it on the end of the bat, but put it in a pretty good spot. Right down that first baseline, and you can see he's out in front, but able to keep the hands back enough to get it by Prince all the way down the corner and right.
Double number 11 for Aubrey Huff. So when he does get his hits, they usually come in the fashion of extra base hits. Brewers lead by 2. Tying run at the plate, Nate Shearholtz. Marco Estrada will spring into action.
We talked that, Sean Markham's only made one career start before tonight against the Giants, and not many of these guys have seen much of them. Third time through, going to be an important swing through this lineup. Guys have seen him a couple of times. These guys make adjustments quickly.
He's faced 4 batters third time through the order, and the Giants are 2 for 3 with a walk. Miguel Tejada, the most at bats against Sean Markham, 22 at bats. Aubrey Huff had seen a lot of them, but other than that, not many of these Giants have much experience against the Brewers starter tonight. Despite an interleague matchup with the Giants last year.
Numbers all good. Yeah, third time through, what was that? A 240 batting average, about 239, was it? That's unbelievable.
It's the highest batting average among that group in its own context. But if you look across baseball, very few pitchers succeed that much third time through the order.
Yeah, the 214 opponent batting average coming in was 6th best in the National League for Markham. Lincecum was third at 203.
Markham in a tough spot here. Runner at second, nobody out. And the 1-2 pitch. Shearholtz, a little flare into center field. That's down for a hit. And they're going to hold Huff around third base. So the Giants with runners at the corners now. Back-to-back hits to start this 7th inning.
Stayed back nicely on that off-speed pitch, and Shearholtz with his second base hit. Check it out. Change up. It looks as though the Giants are getting a better look at that changeup, staying back, still not hitting it all that well, but able to find the holes. You see the rotation on that changeup. He broke his bat, but it died happy.
Have to keep an eye on Nyjer Morgan throwing the baseball as he returns to the lineup. He still wears that padding on his left finger, which affects his throwing. That was really the last thing to come back. Morgan broke his finger trying to bunt. That's what put him on the disabled list. Well, the biggest threat of the game for San Francisco. 2 on, nobody out. And Tejada the batter. Tejada, a .455 hitter against Sean Markham throughout his career. 10 for 22 with 3 home runs in that sample size. Now the Brewers would gladly concede the run to turn a double play here. Renicky has Marco Estrada ready to go on the bullpen. It's got to be tough on a manager to decide when Markham has had enough. He has not given up many hard hit balls. The 2 hits in this inning, not all that well hit.
How about that one?
Then he makes pitches like that, and you say, okay, we're good here.
Yep, 77, a little bit of cut on it, and kept it away from Tejada. 98 pitches so far for Sean Markham. Still in pretty good shape. There it is. Way out in front.
Averaging just over 95 pitches a start. And now it's 3-1. Tejada doesn't chase. Pretty efficient until the 6th inning. The run scoring inning for the Giants. Most of that a 9-pitch at bat from Andres Torres. Big pitch coming up. Tying run at first. And that one's in the dirt. The base is loaded. Nobody out. And decision time for the Brewers skipper.
Well, you got the bottom three in the order coming up. It will be Rick Kranitz and not Ron Renicky. Give him a breather. And we talked about that third time through. It's not been very good for Markham. He's only been able to get one out in that stretch. One out and 6 batters the third time through this Giants batting order.
You got Brandon Crawford coming up for the Giants, making his major league debut here today. He has lined out and bounced into a 1-6-3 double play. Crawford had been playing in San Jose in the California League. That is single A. Played 14 games there, but he was there because he broke his finger, much like Nigel Morgan did. I don't think anybody expected Crawford to be in the big leagues. But the Giants needed shortstop help, and here he is.
Supposed to be in Double A this year.
Which is where he was last season. That one is hit well right field. This is way back. And that one is gone. A grand slam home run for Brandon Crawford. His first major league hit is a grand slam homer. And just like that, the Giants have the lead.
Yeah. Wow. Who saw that coming? First major league hit, and it ends up in the Giants bullpen, so he's going to be able to get that one back. Boy, a stunner here at Miller Park. Wow. Sean Markham just cruising. A breaking ball that Crawford was able to stay back on. It was a curveball. It stayed up and got good extension and rode it on out of here. Now the Giants with a 5-3 lead. Still nobody out.
4 runs and 3 hits and a walk. A grand slam from Brandon Crawford. Not known for his power, but he gives the Giants a 5-3 lead, and Renicky goes to the bullpen. Mountain View, California. Grew up a Giants fan. Grew up in Northern California. And from A ball to the big leagues, and his first major league hit is a grand slam. 5-3 Giants. And now Marco Estrada will take over for Sean Markham, who leaves this game with 6+ innings and 5 earned runs. Not indicative of his night tonight, but that's how fast it can get away from you.
Yeah.
Now the Brewers find themselves down a pair to Tim Lincecum.
You know, really the only hard hit base hit by the Giants was that grand slam home run on a curveball. And that is one that young Crawford will never forget. Well, Marco Estrada's got to stop it right here. He pitched a scoreless 8th inning on Monday. It's been a while for Marco. A scoreless inning, gave up a base hit, and he struck out a batter.
Estrada, but nobody out. The 0-2 to Whiteside and a foul ball out of play. Well, you can understand the decision. I mean, Ron Rinick's looking at the veteran Sean Markham against a guy making his major league debut. You figure the matchup favors Markham. Broken bat. Braun coming in. And there's the first out of the inning. Our text question tonight, courtesy of Ho Chunk Gaming, from Chris in Wauwatosa. Is catcher the toughest position in sports?
I don't know about sports. I mean, if you lump football in there, being a center is no walk in the park in football. I think far and away the toughest, most demanding position, in baseball, I would say. Others would argue. How about a hockey goaltender?
I'll give you that one. I'm going to go with catcher.
And me too. Play more games.
Got him. Estrada sneaks a fastball by Lincecum. 2 outs. And our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Remind you that tomorrow's game is on WMLW and it starts at 3 o'clock. Final game of the series Sunday back on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Then the Brewers head to Cincinnati for a Memorial Day matchup with the Reds. Reds are leading Atlanta now 3-1. That game's in the 8th inning. Cincinnati has dropped 8 of their last 10. Cardinals lead the division at 30-21. Milwaukee in second alone to start play today. 2.5 back of the Redbirds. And the Reds 4 back. The Brewers with the longest winning streak in baseball coming into play tonight. They've won 6 straight. Half swing roller out to Ricky Weeks. Inning over. Good job, Estrada. 3 up, 3 down after the Giants do damage. Brandon Crawford with a grand slam. San Francisco leads.
Brewers trail 5-3 going to the bottom of the 5th inning, but Sean Markham suddenly lost it. You go back with 2 down, He threw a walk and then gives up a base hit and an RBI in that 6th inning, and then the grand slam in the 7th. What happened?
Yeah, it's always tough with pitching. It's hard to decide because he's such intestinal fortitude. He's fought through it a couple of times, but it was at a time that took a little bit out of him because he didn't quite look as sharp in that 7th inning, giving up a couple hits, a walk, and then the home run.
All right, now the Brewers got to fight back against Tim Lincecum back out on the mound. Brewers Live postgame coming up. The Buster Posey rule is going to be our instructional, newly renamed, Jerry.
Yeah, so much has been talked about blocking the plate, and we'll have Rock to do it. He's an expert.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Craig, thanks. As Betancourt flies out to center field, one away. Lincecum now in command here. He's coming off a 3-up, 3-down 6th inning. Looking forward to our instructional.
Here's what we're talking about with respect to, if a catcher is in this area right in here, if he's like in this area, I don't think a base runner has any right to make contact with him because the catcher is giving him home plate. He should slide. And I think that if they want to change a rule, if a catcher's blocking home plate and he's between home plate and the runner, he's he's fair game. You can go after him because that's the only way you can score. But if he's in fair territory and then he tries to make a sweep tag, I don't think you should be able to knock it and run into him. We've seen that a couple of times this year. And I think that if there's going to be some type of a rule in place, now there's no rule with respect to it. The Buster Posey rule, there is no rule. Theoretically, by the letter of the law, a catcher is not allowed to block home plate unless he has the ball. Okay, we see that. There's a gray area there, just like on a double play. But if you're a young catcher and you want to catch, you have to be prepared. If you're anywhere around home plate, you have to protect yourself. If you don't want any contact, you get away from home plate. Make it clear that you have no intention of making it, difficult on the runner to score.
And there is an art to receiving a blow as well as a catcher. And there's also a lot of risk for the base runner, as we've seen with Nigel Morgan. This was a collision with Brian McCann, who's clearly standing in front of home plate.
Right.
He's trying to take away the plate. Thus the collision. Now, it was just a few days after that Morgan was involved in a collision with the Pirates and Ryan Domit, and the same thing. Domit was planting himself in front of home plate, as you could see, and that was the only way Morgan could get there.
Two different situations altogether, and you can see the Brian McCann situation is exactly what I'm talking about. If you have a catcher that's up there like that, I don't think the runner has any right to go after him like that, whether it's a Brewer base runner, whether it's anybody. So I submit again, the 45-foot runner's path that they have at first base. Incorporate that at third base.
I like that. I've never heard that, but that's certainly something that could be implemented and better policed. As Lincecum strikes out Nigel Morgan. And 2 gone here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, Lincecum's smelling blood right now. He's got the lead. His team was able to get him 5 runs after falling behind, 3-0. You see Brian McCann. You can see where Brian McCann is. Now he's in the gray area, partner. I think he's kind of in the gray area. You see where that front foot is? That front foot is blocking home plate. So I don't think it's as cut and dried as, a guy that's standing a little bit further, like the Buster Posey type situation. Now Domit on the other side, he has certainly got his foot clearly in that batter's box. So there's some gray area to play with the McCann. But Niger had no choice but to go into Ryan Domit in that situation. So if you have this line right here, you have that 45-foot line that goes halfway down the line. Runners have to be running within the confines of this line, in order to be able to score. Now it's going to have the umpire's going to have to watch a number of things. Then he's going to have to watch the runner scoring. He's going to have to watch the tag and where the catcher is positioned. So that's a lot for one guy to look at in one particular play. So you can't take the collision or the contact out of the game of baseball. It's been there for as long as baseball's been around. So you just can't start, incorporating rules and fines and things like that all of a sudden. So, but if they want to do one thing, keep the base runners in foul territory when they're trying to score.
As Craig Counsell flies out to left field, and now Lincecum has retired 7 in a row. We go to the 8th. Giants 5, Brewers 3. All right, maybe the roof open tomorrow. Again, a 3 o'clock start here tomorrow for game 2 of the series. Mike McClendon is on to pitch the 8th inning. Marco Estrada, a scoreless outing tonight. 3 up and 3 down for Estrada. And now McClendon will take the ball, his 8th appearance. Giants up 5-3 on the Brewers.
He won Tuesday's game against the Nationals, pitched 2 scoreless innings. He has won each of his last 2 outings.
Freddie Sanchez into left field, a base hit. Jumping on that first pitch. A grand slam homer tonight from Brandon Crawford, the rookie shortstop in his first game in the big leagues. That is the difference. A 4-run 7th. Markham did not get an out in the 7th inning. The Brewers bullpen has been so good in spots like this. On the few occasions the Brewers have been down, the bullpen has been able to keep the opposition at bay and allowed some comebacks. The Brewers have had 2 comebacks during this homestand. They were down 2 against the Rockies, came back to win. They were down 4 against the Washington Nationals and came back to win.
And this bullpen has been very good. A 3.37 earned run average for the guys in the pen.
Problem is you're starting to ease into the Giants' strength as well. Their late bullpen relief, especially their closer Brian Wilson. Lincecum is through 7. Could have been a big turning point back in the 5th. Remember, Weeks was thrown out. He was tagging at second. He got thrown out to end the inning on a routine fly ball to left. That left fielder in the on deck circle. And then the Giants come back and score a run in the 6th as McClendon punches out Pat Burrell. Out number 1. Well, tomorrow night, Doug and Ellen Melvin will host the first of 2 in-game jersey raffles featuring framed autographed game-worn jerseys by Brewers players. 1 jersey will be raffled off to fans during that day's game. Raffle tickets cost $5. They may be purchased at the jersey raffle table across from the field level guest relations where our man Bob hangs out. Proceeds from the auction benefit Susan G. Komen Foundation for breast cancer awareness and after breast cancer diagnosis. Aubrey Huff, 1 out, runner at first. Brewers have a shift on. Makes for an unusual double play possibility with Betancourt the closest to the bag at second. That shift paid off against Huff in the 2nd inning. Weeks took away what would have normally been a sure hit. Cardinals just got a pair of runs in the 6th inning. St. Louis leads 5-3 over the Rockies. Top of the 6th in Colorado. Doing that damage against Ubaldo Jimenez. He's given up 12 hits now.
Still winless.
Yeah, Jimenez 0-4.
Hard to believe.
Cincinnati is in Atlanta. 3-1 lead over the Braves, bottom of the 8th. Line drive, base hit. Huff, a single to center field, his 2nd hit. It was his double in the 7th inning that started the big rally for the Giants.
And stayed back nicely on a fastball that was up and out over the plate and just out of the reach of Betancourt. He didn't miss that one by much. Positioned beautifully, but just out of his reach. Oh, had a little hook on it, it looked like.
So Huff is 2 for 4. And now 2 on with Nate Shearholtz at the plate. I'm sure the rest of this Giants lineup wanting to pick up in the absence of Buster Posey, and they've heard all the talk that the Giants challenged offensively anyway, and now without Posey they'll be more challenged. But they put 5 runs on the board tonight on 8 hits.
Yep, against the best the Brewers have to offer at this point in the season. Well, you got to tip your hat to Tim Lincecum, who kept the Giants in the game. Gave up only the 3 runs. Give up 3 runs in a game this day and age, pretty good chance you're going to pick up a victory. More times than not.
Brandon Crawford replacing Mike Fontenot on this roster, and coming up big tonight with a grand slam.
2 days ago, sitting in A-ball talking to the guys on the bench
in San Jose in the California League.
Yep, and today at Miller Park with the Giants, the world champs. What a difference.
Shearholtz on the ground, got a chance for 2. Betancourt to Weeks, the turn in time, double play. McClendon is out of the inning, nicely turned. Betancourt to Weeks to Fielder. The Brewers go 6-4-3, their second double play of the game, and the Giants rally is snuffed out. The heels of a 4-run 7th inning, all with 1 swing of the bat, a grand slam by Brandon Crawford. Ricky Weeks at the plate tonight. He has driven in all 3 Milwaukee runs. Got a 2-run homer in the 3rd. Off Tim Lincecum put the Brewers on the board, gave him a 2-0 lead. Home run number 9 for Ricky Weeks, and Ricky now with 19 runs batted in from that leadoff position. Updating the Powerball home run leaderboard, Braun with 12. Second in the league behind Jay Bruce, then Fielder, then Weeks. And the top of the order is coming up. Lincecum is out after 7 innings. 3 earned runs. He is in line for the win. He'll turn it over to his bullpen now. And it's Sergio Romo to pitch the 8th.
Now his best pitch is his breaking pitch. They called a slurve to go along with a good fastball. Very good numbers for the Giants out of their bullpen. They got some pretty good arms.
Cody Ross in the game in left field. Much better defender than Pat Burrell. That'll be a double switch. Weeks, Hart, and Braun due up. Brewers down a pair in the 8th inning. The final numbers on Lincecum: no walks, 4 strikeouts, and he finishes by retiring the last 7 hitters. There's that slurve that Rock mentioned. In there for a strike. 1-2 the count on Weeks.
Yep, and that one hung up in the strike zone. Romo's got decent fastball, but that breaking pitch ended up right down the middle. I think Ricky would like to take a whack at that.
Brewers need a base runner, down 2 runs here in the 8th. And the 1-2 to Weeks, and he got him. Same pitch, better spot. Down goes Ricky Weeks. Our Home Depot doing more on defense. Double play turned in the 8th. Giants threatening in the 8th inning, trying to stretch their lead. The Brewers go 6-4-3. Now 1 gone. Here's Corey Hart. And another one of those slurves from Romo.
That's a knee buckler, that is. Corey pulled the bat back thinking that was going to be inside it. Ended up getting plenty of the plate. Got a good break to it.
Now Romo is a big strikeout pitcher. He led the majors last year in strikeouts per 9 innings. He struck out over 15 batters per 9 innings last year.
And you see the rotation on that pitch, and ends up right on the outside corner.
Hart able to check his swing. Romo now at 24 Ks in 14 innings.
Some pretty bold facial hair out in that Giants bullpen, huh?
Has a saloon quality to it. And there's another strikeout. He looks like he's on his game tonight. 2 up, 2 down, 2 Ks. A wicked breaking ball. Closer Brian Wilson anxiously waiting his turn.
Man, didn't even mess around with a fastball. That was a pretty good slider off the corner.
So 2 gone. Here's Braun. Brewers down to their last 4 outs. Braun hoping to reach for Fielder. Just missed. A couple of fastballs from Romo. Ryan doubled off Lincecum in his first at bat. He is 1 for 3 tonight. Hitting .307 for the season currently. Another fastball. So 3 in a row from Romo, and now it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, different approach based on who's up there at the plate. All sliders to Corey Hart, all fastballs to Ryan Braun.
One and 2 to Braun. Didn't chase. 2 and 2. Ryan came in second in the league in homers, 4th in RBIs. third in the league in runs scored, and he leads the National League in total bases. Find his name all over the stat sheet.
Man, Brewers have 3 players in the top 10 in total bases in the National League.
Good take. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And now the screws tighten up a little bit. That curveball, that slurve that Rock mentioned, not nearly as effective against left-handed batters as it is against right-handers.
Yeah, which is why there's a lefty out in that bullpen. There's 3 of them for the Giants down in their bullpen. 3 lefties.
Fielder waiting on deck. See the bullpen activity. Full count to Braun. Brewers down a pair. He fights it off foul. Came back with a fastball.
And went right back with a fastball inside.
And a fastball hit hard, right field line, slicing foul. And the count stays at 3-2.
Well, something how Ryan Braun can cover both sides of the plate like that, particularly on that fastball up and away. Down and away a little bit more difficult for him, but up and away just able to stick that bat out, and he's got such good leverage. He can hit it a long ways. Really trying to get on top, got it down toward the trademark a little bit. Look how much of that outside corner he can cover. It's amazing.
It's been a good battle. The 3-2. And it's ball 4. What an at-bat from Ryan Braun. Wow. As impressive as his hits are and his home runs, you got to put that on the list. An 8-pitch sequence, and Romo cannot retire Braun. And now the tying run is coming up. And Romo has faced his last hitter. Remember, Bruce Bochy ejected back in the bottom of the 5th. So Ron Wotus, the bench coach, takes the ball from Romo, and a lefty on lefty matchup coming up. We'll take a break. Pitching change at Miller Park. Tying run to the plate now after Romo walks Ryan Braun. An impressive at bat for Braun to get Fielder a chance to even the score here. An 8-pitch at bat for Braun. He draws the walk, and now the Giants bring on Javier Lopez, the left-hander, to face Prince Fielder.
Yeah, 1 of 3 down there. Southpaws for the Giants. A 2.55 ERA in his 24th game. He's only got 17 2/3, so he's in there perhaps for a couple of left-handers, and that's it. He's done very well against left-handed batters. Only 4 for 32 are lefties against Lopez.
Although Prince has had some success against lefties this year, as he slings one in for a strike. Fielder this year batting .288 against left-handed pitching. Season average of .285, so he's actually been a little better against lefties. Lopez was so good last year in the postseason for the Giants, especially in the NLCS and World Series. Fielder has faced Lopez in the past. He has 8 career at-bats, a couple of hits, one of those a home run. 2 for 8 with a home run for Fielder. Home run here ties it up.
Yeah, pretty good slider from that arm angle. Makes it tough on lefties. That's why his numbers against left-handed hitters are so good. He'll stick with that slider just about every pitch. And when he puts it in that location, he's tough.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And the count goes full. Braun stays put. Lopez pitched in 5 games against the Phillies to finish off Philadelphia, and all those big left-handed sluggers with the Phillies, and then with the Texas Rangers. He's pitched in big spots before. This crowd trying to help Fielder do some damage here in the 8th inning. He's had a big homestand already. The 3-2 pitch, and Fielder fights it off.
Well, he made a mistake to Prince, and Prince had a pretty good cut at it. Hanger, the slider didn't do much. Perhaps that's what the conversation is with Whiteside out there on the mound. Don't throw that one again. They call them cement mixers.
Another 3-2 sidearm, and he missed, and Fielder is aboard. Back-to-back walks, and decision time here for Ron Wotus. He's got McGee coming up.
You got to believe they're going to bring in a right-hander for him.
And Lopez is out. He faces one batter. He walks Prince Fielder.
That was a 7-pitch at bat for Prince Fielder. He got behind early, threw the slider. Lopez having a tough time really locating that pitch. A good slider that time. He tried to get him with a couple of fastballs. That was the pitch right there that Prince would like to have back, and then missed badly on pitch number 8, or actually pitch number 7.
Another pitching change. The Brewers have dialed it up here. They have 2 on with 2 out. McGee coming up. We'll take a break. Bochy right now, 2 on. The tying run is aboard and Fielder. Back-to-back walks, Braun and Fielder. And now it's Casey McGee who steps into the spotlight against the new pitcher, that is Ramon Ramirez. McGee has been big in the late innings this year. And he's up in a big spot right now. The Giants took the lead with a 4-run 7th. 2 on, 2 out. Take you back to the month of April. Casey McGee in the 8th inning against Kerry Wood on April 10th. A pinch hit home run versus the Cubs that would give the Brewers the lead and ultimately the win.
And that's where he does a lot of his damage late in ball games into right center field. Ramirez has been a good one, a 131 earned run average, and he's held right-handed hitters to a 102 batting average. That's pretty good. He's got a very good slider.
Two balls, no strikes. Ramirez, part of that World Series team last year. Pitched in the postseason. They got him from the Red Sox at the trade deadline. McGee in the driver's seat here. 2 balls, no strikes. And that one catches the corner. That was a big league pitch from Ramon Ramirez. Not much McGee could do with that one.
No, he just let that one go by. Wait for the next one. That is a perfect pitch on a 2-0 count.
And now it's 2-2 on McGee. Casey was a big part of the comeback on Tuesday night against Washington. And a single in the 8th inning. Lucroy had the 2 RBIs to give the Brewers the lead in that game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Braun and Fielder on the bags. And McGee fights it off. In that game on Tuesday, McGee's hit came against the flame-throwing Henry Rodriguez, who was touching 101 miles an hour that night. So he handles the fastball. Ready for the 2-2. And that one is on the edge. No, he didn't go. He checks his swing. That's big. Now the runners will get a head start, and it's possible Fielder could score.
Yep.
On a base hit down the line or through the gap.
Yep, double down the line or in the gap. A slider from Ramirez.
Full count, 2 outs. The runners go. McGee fouls one away, went up the ladder with a fastball.
Tomahawked it, didn't he? 93 up around the neck, and Casey McGee able to get a piece of it.
It's Lincecum's game to win. He left with a 2-run lead. This inning started with back-to-back strikeouts by Sergio Romo. Then Romo walked Braun on a great at-bat. Fielder then walked against the lefty Lopez, and now it's Ramirez against McGee. We'll do it again. Full count, 2 outs. Go ahead run at the plate. Whatever the outcome is in this at-bat against McGee, you could put these 3 at-bats with Braun, Fielder, and McGee in a box as an example of how to battle late in a game. This is impressive.
Concentrate and just give what the pitcher is willing to offer to you and nothing else.
Another 3-2. Braun and Fielder will take off with a pitch, and not a bad idea from Ramirez. McGee waiting on the 9th pitch of the at-bat. There they go, the 3-2, and it's on the ground. Tejada makes a play, bobbles, and no throw. Bases loaded. Tejada saves a run, but the inning is still alive. A 9-pitch sequence, and McGee survives with an infield hit.
Well, and he was able to get on top of a couple of very high fastballs. He started out with a slider, and then he was able to dot the eye on the outside corner. Then there was a battle for Casey McGee. Looked like Ramirez, after that slider right there, just tried to pump fastballs up on Casey McGee, thinking he can get it by him. But Casey, a very good fastball hitter. On pitch number 9, a fastball up around the letters, able to get himself a base hit.
Bases loaded, tying run now in scoring position, and here is Jonathan Lucroy. And Brewers fans are about to find out just how hot their catcher is and just how hot their team is. Longest winning streak in the big leagues at 6. One and one.
That big swing by Jonathan, trying to hit it out of the ballpark. You know, base hit, do just fine right here. It should score 2.
Fielder's got a huge lead at second base. They're not holding him on, so he'll be able to take all he wants, and he'll be off with the crack of the bat. Lucroy had a game winner against the Nationals on Tuesday. And there's a base hit. Braun will score, and here comes Fielder. The throw to the plate, and a collision at home, and Whiteside hangs on to the baseball. The Brewers get a run. Fielder thrown out by a mile. It's 5-4 as the inning ends at home plate. Home plate with the Giants raises the eyebrows, but Fielder unable to knock the ball free from Whiteside, and see Lucroy delivering big with the hit, and Fielder was an easy out at home plate. Great throw from Cody Ross.
And not sure why Whiteside is one to make contact like that. Sometimes it's the runner's issue, and other times it's the catcher. Whiteside could have easily sidestepped that whole situation and just drawn a tag, and he went after Prince Fielder. So sometimes it's the catcher that creates the contact, sometimes it's the runner. So how do you incorporate a rule, based on that? I mean, I don't think you can.
Now the Brewers do get a run. They are within a run. And here we go to the 9th inning.
See, that situation right there, Prince was forced to do what he did because Eli Whiteside was just standing there with the ball, 2 hands on it, and he was ready to jam it right into his face. A lot of times a catcher, you just stay on your feet, on the balls of your feet. You kind of roll with it. You kind of make the tag and get out of there.
Now Ed Cedar was banking on a misfire from left field.
Now the rule of thumb really is, a base hit like that, you got the tying run. You don't expect too many, back-to-back hits, to score many runs. So I guess rule of thumb, you send the guy on with 2 outs on a base hit. But as you mentioned, Cody Ross has a pretty good arm out there. He actually had the baseball before Prince touched third.
Fielder was involved in a collision back in '06 with the Giants. He knocked out their catcher, Todd Green. So Fielder is never afraid of contact. McGee, nice play on a hot one from Tejada. And the first out of the 9th inning.
Yes, we've had 2 pretty good examples of different types of base running plays at home plate. Nigel Morgan sliding at home. Whiteside gave him the plate to slide at. And this time Whiteside actually, he was the guy drawing the contact. He wanted the contact with Prince, which a lot of times isn't the smartest thing in the world. Prince isn't going to shy away.
Well, here's Brandon Crawford. His grand slam is the big hit of this game. His first major league hit, grand slam home run. Whiteside due next. Last year for the Red Sox, Daniel Nava hit a grand slam in his major league debut. It's interesting that it's been done now 4 times in the last 6 years. A grand slam in a major league debut. Jeremy Hermida, Kevin Kuzminoff, Daniel Nava, and now Crawford. But prior to that, you had to go all the way back to 1968 and Bobby Bonds. As Crawford draws the walk, and the Giants have a base runner.
The 2 plays that we were talking about. This is the Nigel Morgan play on the right. You can see the positioning of Eli Whiteside. He's giving Nigel all kinds of plate to look at. I mean, if a runner can see home plate as he's coming into home, more times than not, he's going to slide. And that's what I'm talking about. If you see a catcher in fair territory, I do not think you should be allowed to run into him as long as he stays in fair territory. If he sweeps a tag, that's one thing. But if it starts in fair territory, ends up in foul territory blocking the plate, that's a different animal altogether. And you saw where Whiteside is on that Prince Fielder play. He was looking for contact.
I think the throw had as much to do with it as anything. The throw put him on the foul side of the plate.
You see this as a runner. I mean, what else are you going to do other than run over the catcher? You can't see any of the plate. The only way you can score is to run him over. The catchers provoke that as much as the base runners. I mean, if you're going to stand there, you better be ready to take it, and you better have good technique when you do it.
Well, McClendon needing a double play here. Ryan Braun on the run, long way to go, and he slides into that wall, which is always a scary proposition, a foul ball. Remember Matt Diaz of the Pirates broke his leg doing almost exactly this a few years back.
And that's why he slides. He can slow down quickly. You're not going to take that face full on against that wall along the grandstands, and that's a good play.
No balls and 2 strikes on Eli Whiteside with the Giants closer Brian Wilson prepping for the 9th. And there's a base hit by the Giants catcher. So 2 on against McClendon. Still just 1 out. And it'll be Cody Ross to bat for the first time.
Well, breaking ball up in the zone, and Whiteside able to get his first base hit of the night. Outer half upstairs. And a good approach. A walk and a base hit.
Well, you got to be careful to this hitter. Cody Ross with 3 home runs, 11 driven in. The Giants brought him in for defensive purposes with the lead, and his throwing arm is playing big right now. He gunned down Fielder last inning. On the ground, Betancourt makes a play to third for 1. That's all they'll get. Excellent play by Betancourt. As Crawford is cut down, the second out of the inning.
And a good play by Casey McGee, realizing he wasn't going to be able to get it. And if Betancourt got it, his only play was going to be to third base. So Casey took a step and then got back to third. And good instincts by Casey, able to get there and ready for the throw.
Well, Betancourt will lead off the bottom of the 9th. 5-4 San Francisco. And here is Andres Torres, Giants leadoff hitter. 2 on and 2 out. Here's strike 1 from McClendon. That would be a bonus if McClendon can finish off this 9th inning and give Ron Renicky 2 scoreless. Trying to keep the Giants at 5. Giants got 4 runs with 1 swing of the bat. A Brandon Crawford grand slam in the 7th. The difference in the game right now.
The only rough inning for Sean Markham tonight.
Two on, 2 out. Torres is hitless tonight. He did walk and score in the 6th. And a big cut. 2 and 2. Still Lincecum's game to win. 7 innings, 3 runs tonight. And a good answer coming off his best start of the year against the Athletics last Saturday. If you're looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, Betancourt leads off, then Niger Morgan. And in the pitcher spot. Brewers have some options down there now. Katse still available. All the bench players available with the exception of Counsell, who was used in the 7th. Got him. McClendon strikes out Torres. And here we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Brian Wilson, the Giants closer, is on his way to the mound. Betancourt, Morgan, and a pinch hitter due up. Brewers down a run. Brian Wilson and his beard on the mound at Miller Park, and a save opportunity for the Giants closer. He's got plenty of fans all over the country. And Wilson, you see his numbers this year, Rock, 13 saves. He's blown a couple. Not the dominant Brian Wilson that we saw last year, but still very good.
Yep, big fastball. He's got the cut fastball, and as tough as he can be, he has been hittable this year, but he has not allowed a home run this year.
Yuniesky Betancourt had that dramatic 13th inning home run against the Nationals. I beg your pardon, against the Colorado Rockies back on Friday against Houston Street. Rockies closer had tied the game, continued the game, a game that Fielder would win with a home run in the 14th inning. Didn't miss by much. 2-1 to count.
Hey, Brian Wilson can get that fastball in the upper 90s. He can get it 97, 98 when he gets lathered up pretty good. Been throwing a lot more cut fastballs lately.
And that one is on the corner for a strike. 2-2 on Betancourt. Wilson led the big leagues in saves last year with 48. Got him. Betancourt rung up. And he is not pleased with Mike McClinsky.
Yep, it was a cut fastball that was right down the middle, but Betancourt, I think he thought it was low. Too close to take with 2 strikes.
So Wilson against Nyjer Morgan, who has 2 hits tonight, both against Lincecum. Morgan had a single and a double against Lincecum. Lincecum struck him out in the 7th. Scored twice. Last year, Brian Wilson had an ERA of 1.81. He gave up just 15 earned runs all season last season. In 70 games, he's already given up 9 this year. He looks sharp tonight, and it's 1-2. The Brewers down a run against one of the game's best. Walks have been at the heart of Wilson's troubles this year. But when he has struggled, that's the case for a lot of closers. That one missed inside. Close pitch, 3-2 the count.
Well, that's what you want. Just need a base runner. And Nyjer Morgan would be a good one out there. One with speed.
He's representing the tying run. The payoff. Morgan right to Aubrey Huff. A line drive out for the second out of the inning.
Can't hit it much better than that. That fastball down and in. It might have been ball 4, but you can't take any chances. And he hit it hard.
Two outs, and it's going to be Mark Kotsay. Kotsay with 2 hits this year as a pinch hitter. He's 2 for 8. Brewers down to their last out as Kotsay sends one to left, a base hit. Ross over to cut it off, and there you go. The Brewers put the tying run aboard. The power hitters are coming up. Kotsay, pinch hit single. He's going to be lifted for a pinch runner as Carlos Gomez will come on to run.
What a pro, Mark Kotsay. Check this one out. Fastball away, goes right with it. He was thinking left field. all the way, and he hit a bullet out there into the gap. Played by Cody Ross to cut it off.
That defensive move putting Ross into left field has paid off twice for the Giants. The throw last inning and cutting that ball off, keeping the tying run out of scoring position. So here we go. Ricky Weeks could win it with a long ball. And you got to figure Gomez is going to be itching to run as soon as he can. Like most closers, Wilson not great at holding runners on. Ricky Weeks back in the third inning put the Crew on the board against Lincecum.
Brewers had a 3-0 lead before the Giants started to peck away. And that was the beginning of it right there.
Ricky hoping for a mistake. Gomez with a good lead at first, and he stays put. That one's on the corner. 0-2 the count on Weeks.
Well, now you might see Gomez try and take off. Try to get into scoring position. 2 strikes on Ricky, just trying to protect.
Gomez has 12 steals this year. He's only been caught once. The Brewers down to their last strike. Tying run at first. And the 0-2. Gomez goes. Weeks fouls it away. Had a good cut.
He had that one stolen. Too close for Ricky to take.
They'll ask if he went, and no, he didn't. Mark Wegner says he checked his swing, and Weeks will see another pitch from Wilson. That was close. Gomez not running on the last pitch. Check on Gomez. Ooh. Close at first. Carlos just back.
Yeah, too close. I imagine Garth Ord saying, hey, not too much. You don't want to get picked off. That was very close at first. Boom. Wow.
That's 2 breaks the Brewers might have just gotten. They'll reset. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And another check on Gomez. Wilson ready. There goes Gomez. Weeks lays off. Throw to second. Not in time. Gomez steals second base. And there is your tying run, now in scoring position for the Brewers.
Gomez didn't get as good a jump as he did the first time because he was worried about getting picked off. A little bit shorter lead. Wanted to make sure he went home, and because of that, it was a little bit closer than you would have thought. But clearly safe at second base.
Now a base hit will tie it up. Gomez will be off with a crack of the bat. And good arms in the outfield for the Giants. As Weeks swings and misses, down he goes on strikes, and the ball game is over. And the Giants win the opener of this series. Brandon Crawford, a grand slam home run, his first major league hit, and that was the difference tonight. He is our Menards player of the game. 5-4 final score. The Giants win it. Lincecum picks up the victory, Markham the loss, and Wilson save number 14. Much more still to come on this game. Craig Kashan, what do you have coming up for us on Brewers Live?
Well, tough way to end the winning streak here at home, but we'll get inside that Brewer clubhouse, perhaps hear from the Giants as well as they take the first game of this 3-game set. Coming back to Miller Park for Brewers Live postgame.